Who remembers when the main people pushing reactionary politics on YouTube were the skeptic community? You know, the YouTubers that would do the sort of "I'm a liberal," but and they would talk about how BuzzFeed is cringe and feminism is cancer and black people just need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and basically all of these ideas. You remember when that was like the main source of reactionary rhetoric online? You guys remember. And that was more or less started by a whole other community online, which was the commentary community. A lot of what they did was inspired by the likes of the commentary community, and probably the largest, absolute largest person in the commentary community, without a doubt, is this man right here. Leafy is here. Or Leafy, as we're going to call him from here on out. So, I have to preface this by making a confession to you all. The year was 2015. I was 16 years old. And I was bored, and I was scrolling through YouTube. And I came across a video by a YouTuber named LeafyIsHere. It was him telling the story of the time I think he had Molly or something, some drug. Now this was before Leafy really blew up. I believe this was back when Leafy had like, I don't know, less than, probably around the amount of subs I have now. So I clicked on the video, I watched it, and I really liked it. And I remember I subbed to him, and I started watching Leafy pretty consistently from there on out. And then Leafy's growth, especially in 2016, started to go fucking off the charts. Who remembers, if we've got any serious boomers here, who remembers back when every comment section fucking ever was just filled with hiss? Who remembers that? There's a 15-second delay on the stream, so none of you guys are going to answer that. Wait, maybe there's not. Yeah, you guys remember that? The reptilian thing? That was around the time when Leafy's growth just fucking blasted off. And everyone started, like, Leafy at the time was the #1 fastest growing channel. And he used to make some, what I think were pretty good content. A lot of his story videos and stuff like that, where he would just, like, sort of talk and tell a story or give his opinion on something and put, like, some surfing footage or whatever over in the foreground with him talking in the background, occasionally flashing an image or whatever up on screen. That same concept was what inspired me to make my first videos that were political related, where I'd have video games in the foreground, and then, or like footage of like, I eventually moved on to using like stock footage of like time lapse of cities and rivers and shit like that. But originally it was like Apex Legends gameplay and stuff like that I'd have in the foreground, and then in the background I'd have me talking, and then I'd like bring up images or videos that were related. That was the format I used. It's because a lot of my inspiration came from the likes of LeafyIsHere and other commentary YouTubers, but Leafy is by far the most notable of them. But as Leafy started to get more popular, his channel grew, his prevalence online became more impossible to ignore. He started to change his style. He stopped doing storytime videos and started doing videos bullying people. Now, I bully people from time to time. I make fun of people's appearance, I joke about people, and I definitely engage in ad homs. But I feel like I'm fairly reserved with it, and I do a good job of only doing it to people who really deserve it. But Leafy did videos on, like, kids. Kids that made, granted, cringy content, but weren't really doing anything wrong. Like, they weren't hurting anybody. The worst that they were doing was just being cringy. And, he went hard on these kids. The first bit of drama that happened... can someone ban Azo9? He's being a fucking retard. Okay, so the first thing that happened was, speaking of that, Leafy made a video making fun of a guy who'd made a, granted, very cringy video, and I think it was like a grocery store parking lot. And this video garnered him a lot of hate. Not the Pokemon Go kid. This video garnered him a lot of hate. As it turned out, Leafy called the dude retarded, except the guy was actually autistic. Yeah, so unironic actual ableism. Yeah. So that was when the first bit of drama with Leafy first occurred, and you'd think it would be fine if it ended there. He kind of apologized for it. He did sort of use the it's satire excuse a little bit, or oh, it's just edginess, it's all fun and games and all of that, but it went on further. Leafy progressively started to gain the ire of a lot of people on YouTube, and some of the people he got into drama with were actually pretty shitty people. Keemstar, for example. Keemstar is probably one of the biggest pieces of shit on the internet. He's a cockroach. He's an internet cockroach. No matter how many times you hit him, he always survives. That's why H3H3's Content Nuke was such a good name for it, because Keemstar still survived it, because only a cockroach can survive a nuke. But things kept going. Leafy gained a lot more hate. He got attacked a lot for his appearance, like his chin, whatnot, which, you know, honestly, at that point, fair game. I mean, we can, like, look up LeafyIsHere insult compilation. The best of Leafy, LeafyIsHere best moments. Let's see a few of these.
If there's one thing I can't stand, it's people who make fun of others. My philosophy when it comes to video making here on YouTube is if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Oh great, it's gonna be one of these videos. You know, honestly guys, I really didn't think I would need energy for this video. But I guess I was completely wrong. So give me a sec guys, let me go grab a Red Bull, 150 milligrams of Adderall, and of course, last but not least, some crystal meth. I mean, that shit,
What is the fucking quality of the 360p? What are you talking about? Okay, you know, alright. Take my word for it, if you've ever watched Leafy before, the dude likes to insult people. The dude likes to insult people's appearance a lot, okay? It's what he does. And in response to that, people made fun of his appearance quite a bit too, you know? I mean... yeah. Yeah, so... But that's fine, right? That's fine. But it got worse. It continued to get worse for Leafy. What ended up happening from there, if my memory serves me correctly, is a content cop by iDubbbz came out against Leafy. And this content cop was probably his best one, besides the one against Keemstar. And shortly after that, if we go back into LeafyIsHere's video history, if we go back to before his return, you can see he just sort of pittered out shortly after the content cop. And he stopped making content at "This video will make you cry." That's when he stopped. Now, LeafyIsHere disappeared for many years. Almost 3 years. And I remember thinking, God, it would be so cool if Leafy ever came back. I imagine if he came back from his break, or his time away, perhaps, just maybe, he would be a bit more of an enlightened, mature, more tempered person, and maybe his return to YouTube could actually be something good. Maybe he'll have learned something, and maybe he could come back and actually be a force for good on YouTube. Because I do think his type of content could be good. Imagine a YouTuber the likes of Leafy that makes content as frequently and the way that he does, attacking those that genuinely deserve it. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine if LeafyIsHere made videos about, I don't know, Nazis, reactionaries, I mean, like, even the fucking, like, there's entire communities of people on YouTube that, like, fantasize and talk about killing and slaughtering baby monkeys in just horrific, grotesque ways, and in the comments of the videos, talk about it in detail, right? You know there's a whole YouTube community of that, right? Go to any video about, like, baby monkeys on the platform, and scroll down to the comments, and you're gonna find some really fucked up shit. There's a lot more that I could bring up, but there are some seriously fucked up groups of people on the internet, and on YouTube particularly. And Leafy had the power of millions of people behind him, and a very effective video strategy that he could have polarized a massive group of people against these harmful groups online, but instead he chose to use that power to make fun of people who are maybe a little bit cringy, but overall weren't really doing anything bad. Overall. But Leafy disappeared for a while after the iDubbbz content cop. Many people considered him to have been shamed off of the internet, to be a disgraced ex-YouTuber, but while he was gone, he invested the insane amount of money he made from YouTube into stocks, made a shit ton of money, and now more or less, from my understanding, he's so rich he'll never have to work another day of his life. He's gotten really rich from the stock market, and now he's returned to YouTube for the hell of it, just for fun, right? Just to be a shit poster now. He doesn't really care what happens, from what I've been able to tell, and so he's returned. And he returned with this video called iDubbbz. Basically what happened was Anissa Joma, iDubbbz's girlfriend, started an OnlyFans, and for some reason this was like a big deal, because if you date a sex worker, then I guess you're a cuck or a simp. Just leave it to white people to ruin the definition of words, am I right? And so basically Leafy saw this as an excuse or a way that he could come back when iDubbbz, who was previously viewed as untouchable, was sort of down in the dumps, in a state where a lot of people were shitting on him, that he could come around and join that hate mob, and he would be able to escape the absolute slaughtering he received, the absolute ass-whooping he got a few years ago when iDubbbz released his content cop on him. And it seems to have worked. Because now he's come back, and he's posting fairly regularly. And it's mostly shitpost videos. They're getting a lot of views. He's bigger than he ever was. And yeah, he's getting a lot of views. But not that I cared or anything until this point. I mean, Leafy's back. He's not back in the form I would like to have seen him in as an ex-Leafy fan. But he came out with 2 videos that I think are fairly relevant to talk about as a political interlocutor on YouTube. Content Nuke Pokimane and Content Fallout Pokimane. Who here knows who Pokimane is, or Pokemon, depending on how you pronounce it? Apparently it was supposed to be Pokemon early on, because her name's Amon, and it's Poke, but then people kept pronouncing it Pokimane, and then she got like some copyright shit, so it's just Pokimane now. So you guys know Pokimane, right? Okay, so for those of you guys that don't know who Pokimane is, alright, I'm gonna give a bit of a disclaimer here. Is she live right now? Is she live? Is she live? Is she live? Is she live? Yeah, she is live. Look at that. She's playing some video game. I don't know. This is Pokimane, alright? I do follow her. I'm not subbed to her or anything, but I do follow her on Twitch. She's a pretty big streamer, and she does... Here, we'll turn on volume.
That typically does something where something called the task manager will show up. And then you can choose on any process, which is typically an application or a hidden app.
I have no idea what she's talking about here. It sounds like she's giving some sort of an explanation to her chat about something. Now, this should go without saying, Pokimane is very pretty. She's a very pretty lady. Alright? She also puts forth, both physically and with her content, a very wholesome sort of like ooh-woo, you know, girl next door kind of vibe. I'm gonna put this out on the table right now. Pokimane is pretty. And I will not deny that. And a fair amount of people certainly do watch Pokimane. She's got 23,000 viewers right now. Holy shit. If I ever get to that point, that would be awesome. A fair amount of people do watch Pokimane because she's hot. You could describe them as simps. What will your girlfriend think? If I got my girlfriend and asked her if Pokimane was hot, she'd come in and say, yeah, she's cute. I promise you. Okay. So, Pokimane's a popular figure. But she's also extremely unproblematic. Like, there is not a lot to nitpick at Pokimane for. She's a streamer. Now, granted, she's a streamer, and everybody who's a streamer that constantly broadcasts significant amounts of their life live, no filtering, no editing. Like, when you see me here, I can't change anything that I do. If I make a mistake and say something I don't mean to say, all I can do is apologize and try to move on, maybe delete the VOD, but people can clip it, people know it happened. Like, there's nothing I can do. It's out there. Alright? So with streamers, that is a thing that happens, but more or less, Pokimane is extremely unproblematic. There isn't a lot that she's really done that warrants extreme criticism. I mean, when the likes of people like Keemstar are out there, or the likes of people like, I mean, list any like reactionary alt-right type figure on YouTube, like when you have these people out there, it becomes really hard for me to think that someone like Pokimane deserves criticism. But I went ahead and I watched the video, and I was more disappointed than I expected to be. Let's go ahead and watch this on 2x speed, a little bit of it, all right? Because it's something.
What we do here is go back.
Let's just watch it.
Nice! Really want to put my logo on that one! Oh. You ain't funny. That's not true. Maybe if you're sporting a bug. And late and hell. Anyways, obviously I'm not seeing your videos. But yeah, just some stuff. She mastered the off. If he's the fact that not show her like everything. Dude. And I'm gonna be honest, I think the only way people like this stop is if people like me and my community give them feedback that this is not an okay thing to do. Not attack them.
Wow, Ethan, great move. Keep it up.
Alright. I think you guys, from the first 55 seconds to a minute of that video, have an idea of what this video is what it's going to be about, okay? These two videos he made on Pokimane are more or less a extension of the already existing tendency for dudes in this sort of section of YouTube to just, like, mercilessly go after female Twitch streamers that have, like, a controversial thing happen, or even if they're just popular, right? Like, for example, who remembers the, who remembers what's her name? Invader V? Who remembers Invader V when she had that clip come out where she was like, if you have hours and hours and hours to watch my stream every day, but you don't have $5 to sub, don't just say you can't afford it. Say you don't feel like subbing. Like, you don't have to lie about it. Do you remember that? Like, granted, she sounded a little bitchy while she said it, but she wasn't demanding subs. She wasn't acting entitled, and this was not something worth getting called out for by, like, a massive segment of YouTube. We know why all these dudes were calling her out. We all know why they were doing it. Pepe, we all know. And so you saw this massive explosion of these usually, like, guys, like, reactionary types, freaking the fuck out about it. And then it happened with Bad Bunny. And then it happened with, list any other female streamer, and now it's happening with Pokimane. And And it's weird because Pokimane is so unproblematic. Like, she's pretty universally liked, especially on Twitch. So it's weird to go after her. But this video goes for a few low blows that are just, like, really, really, really embarrassing, okay? And this becomes relevant in a moment, trust me, to, like, the political segment of everything. In this video, Leafy goes after Pokimane for the following things. Wearing makeup. So we've got, like, dudes being mad that women wear makeup because I guess it's deceiving. I'm gonna be honest with you right here. Any dude who gets mad that women wear makeup to do, like, the whole take her to the beach on the first date thing, like, that is some cringy shit, my guy. Like, come on, dude. Come on. You're older than 16. If you're over 16 years old and you do that shit, please reconsider your actions, because you're gonna have a hard time getting pussy if that's your outlook, okay? Yeah, Jordan Peterson memes. Copyright striking videos that were uploaded by people who are ripping her content. So, as a streamer, if someone just uploads unedited, ripped footage of your stream, that is violating your intellectual property, and you are 100% within your right to copyright or DMCA strike that content off the internet. This is something that YouTubers don't seem to understand. They seem to think that just, like, ripping a streamer's content and uploading it without any transformation, like, no commentary in it, and just, like, ripping it up and cutting clips up and putting it down as, like, transformative content. It's not. Legally, it is not. You are violating that streamer's intellectual property. He makes the argument that her doing that to people who are just, like, ripping her content and uploading it is like a bitch move. Tons of streamers do this all the time. She was completely within her rights to do so. Now, granted, from what I've heard, she has DMCA'd striked videos that were transformative content, and that's definitely a shitty thing to do, but, like, I think we've got worse people out there to like, attack, you know, on the internet. There are definitely worse people out there. Pokimane overall is pretty unproblematic. Then he goes after her for sexualizing herself on stream. Now, I don't know if we need to go back to Pokimane's stream, but hold on. There we go. Okay, she moved herself. Look, I'm a coomer, okay? I'm gonna fully admit to you guys that I am a coomer. I am. But even I would say it is a stretch to argue that her wearing a comfortable, loose-ish fitting shirt that seems to cover quite a bit of skin and baggy pink sweatpants is, like, over-sexualizing or inappropriate or trying to, like, show yourself off to your audience. That is a stretch. Now, he shows in that little clip that we saw, like, a clip of her leaning over to put her cat down, and, like, you can see her butt. Like her butt is sort of, like, through her, like, sweatpants she's wearing, but, like, what? Are we really going there? Is that really where we're going? Hold on, let me go be sexual on stream really quick. Look, picking up the, yeah, is that, guys. Now, if she did something like that, where she, like, very intentionally did it, I'd be like, okay, maybe it's a little shameless, squad W, but, like, she just bent over to pick up her cat, like, okay. So, the whole Twitch thoughts are bad thing is pretty incelly, and you should probably find yourself a better thing to do with your life than whine about women on the internet. Maybe you'll get some pussy, okay? He then goes on to talk about one final thing that I think is pretty relevant. Let's actually bring up the video.
What we do here is go back.
Come on. Come on, Google. You can handle it. There we go. Let's see. Where is it? Ah, yes. he also brings up a clip of her right here being kind of mean back in like 2015. I think this is 2015 or 2014, showing her without makeup. Guys, reactionary dipshits online think that is the funniest shit in the world, or like the biggest roast in the world. Oh, women wear makeup and it makes them look different than without it. Okay. Then he also brings up like some clips of her from like years ago and where she's being kind of mean on stream. Oh, and he also brings up that a lot of her content is her reacting to videos. That's also a claim that she makes. That's also a claim that he makes about her. That all she does is react to videos, and it's the equivalent of the Jinx guy from back in the day that everyone hated, where he would just sit there like reacting to content. Here, really quick, let's look at something. XQC reacts to Unusual Memes compilation version 99 in Daily Dose of Internet. XQC reacts to streamers out of context. XQC reacts to content nuke Pokimane. XQC reacts to content Fallout Pokimane. XQC reacts to Catch a Predator. XQC reacts to TikToks that are Gen Z humor. Twitter versus XQC and Boblax. Oh yeah, we gotta talk about Boblax in a second here. We'll get to him. Don't worry. Wait in line, buddy. XQC is probably one of the largest streamers on Twitch, and most of what he does and is known for is react content. Where are all the takedown videos getting millions of views on XQC for being just like Jinx? What am I getting needed for? What did I do? What am I getting needed for? I don't know what I got needed for. I honestly don't even know. What about Asmongold? Method exposed. Asmongold reacts to gold selling leaks and interviews. Gallywix admins. Asmongold reacts to viewer-made memes. Asmongold amazed Blizz did it to classic WoW cheaters. Asmongold reacts. Asmongold reacts to a video by Internet Historian. Asmongold's... Oh, this is actually really good. This is the VOD of him playing WoW Classic. Asmongold reacts to the decline of gaming by Actman. Asmongold reacts. Asmongold doing a mount compilation. Okay, so Asmongold react... So, when you search the names of these massive streamers, a significant amount of their content that they are most well known for is their reactions. Why is nobody calling out this shit for these guys? On top of that, really quickly, I've got another thing that... Hold on, really quick. If you go to Pokimane's channel, the vast majority of her content is non-react videos. It's gameplay, actual actually talking to people, and non reacting to videos content. But if you go to all these other streamers' channels, it's all React Andy shit. I do it too. Listen, hey, you want to see some real React Andy shit? You guys want to see the most React Andy channel in the world? There's this guy called Xanderhall. Look at him. He just reacts to shit and debates people. What a reactionary. No, but I don't really care about the Pokimane shit, okay? Honestly, she's a massive figure, probably doesn't even know I exist. She doesn't need me simping for her, okay? I don't really care to have to defend Pokimane. Also, Destiny did. Whoo, yeah, that's the like to dislike ratio I can expect whenever this goes up, huh? Yeah, Destiny also did a coverage of this, but I feel like his coverage was lackluster compared to my deep, in-depth destruction of Leafy here. Let's talk about what I like to interpret as the possible starting point for a second Gamergate. So, I feel like reactionary politics throughout history, ranging anything from just your general sort of fashy, like, you know, or tradcon conservative shit to full on, like, fascism seems to occur and get popular in waves. It's in waves. Some, like, occasionally it gets really unpopular and everyone's fighting against it. And then it gets really popular again, and anybody who speaks out against it gets crushed by the media. Do you guys remember back after 9/11 when anybody, any public figure who spoke out against the war with Iraq would get completely shit on? Do you remember what happened when the Dixie Chicks spoke out against the Iraq war? Who remembers? Any boomers here remember what happened to the Dixie Chicks when they spoke out against the Iraq war? It was shut up and sing. They never recovered from the amount of shit they got for that. No, any celebrity that came out against that was lambasted by the mainstream media, was hated by the American people, a massive majority of them, and were just absolutely attacked. What's that remind you of? Reminds me of Milo Stewart and Riley J. Dennis back in the days of peak reactionary skeptic YouTube. But then, a couple years later, towards around the time Obama got elected, lefty thought was a lot more popular. You could actually be a lefty and express even somewhat progressive values as a public figure and not get shit on for it. And then 2016 came around and went back. And now it's 2020. And lefty shit is a lot more popular now. But if we look at the pattern going back through history, it seems like we're just going up onto the, okay, cool, it's okay to say lefty shit now and not get absolutely, you know, lambasted by most of the people online. When's the next wave of fasci rhetoric going to come around, and how will it come around? Who will be the ones who push it? Who will be the start of the next alt-right rabbit hole, more or less? With the banning of Stefan Molyneux and all those other reactionary alt-right figures that just got axed off of YouTube and Twitter and so on these last few months, I think, and obviously with the much less popularity the skeptic community has now, I think what's going to happen is the drama community on YouTube is going to be where it starts, where the wave starts to rise again with the reactionary politics. Leafy is an irreverent, dipshit fuckboy who has some pretty reactionary politics. Ironically enough, I remember he left some really positive comments on some old Destiny debates from back in the day. It's really, really weird that now he's doing this kind of shit. But yeah, hey Vermin, by the way. Yeah, true. Yeah, I'm glad we see eye to eye on this, because I've been thinking this for a while, and I really want to talk about this because I've got a lot to say about it. Leafy is pretty milquetoast compared to everything else, but when you count the rest of this sort of like drama community, the commentary drama community, I think this is where it's going to happen. Optimus, big boy, big fucking YouTuber guy, does similar content, and when he talks about basically any political topic, he generally leans onto the reactionary side of things. Oh, thank you, Vermin. I'm getting it cut tomorrow, so it's gonna be gone. I'm gonna have my short hair again, and I'll feel much better, because I hate having long hair. I do. I really, really do. What about, Birdman? Yeah, this guy is also a dipshit white boy who is straight up, I'm tired of these females lying. Mia Khalifa is one of the top videos that comes up, 1.1 million views. He has a series called I'm Tired of These Females Lying. So, like, okay. And these channels get tons of views. And then, of course, we have the king of all of this, the unkillable cockroach of the internet, Keemstar. Now, Keemstar doesn't oftentimes get into politics, but the dude is like a borderline Nazi. Who remembers when he... I mean, like, okay, hold on. Of all people, The Yo Mama guy made a fantastic video on Keemstar. Oh, and of course, we have Bowblacks. Of course, we have fucking Bowblacks. We'll get into Bowblacks in a minute. Bowblacks, fuck right off, buddy. Okay? We'll get to you in a minute. You can fucking wait. You can fucking wait. Alright. The Yo Mama guy did a really good video on Keemstar. I think this is the one right here, where he talks about Keemstar's very, very numerous connections to the alt-right, whether it be the Killstream guys, or his defense of the Christchurch shooter, or his constant rhetoric, or his old posts online, or his just general behavior on the internet, his political views, his defending literal, like, child abusers, the Daddy-O5 guy. Like, Keemstar is a piece of shit rat, as we all know, but he's also, like, very connected to the alt-right. And Yo Mama called him out for this. Like, this guy did not make political content. This is what was so cool about it. This guy did not make political content. He made animated, funny joke videos, and came out with a video where it's him talking about how Keemstar is alt-right adjacent. Based Yo Mama guy, honestly. Keemstar is definitely, like, a big purveyor of this, but, I mean, if you look at, like, these videos, I mean, look at Bowblacks. Please, Bowblacks, stop. Bowblacks is a pretty big guy on this whole YouTube thing. I recommend you go watch Destiny Debate Bowblacks. The guy's kind of like... Bowblacks sort of does the like, commentary stuff, but most of his stuff is, like, reading tweets. He does drama shit. It's in the same area as this, but it's different. It's in the same spectrum, I suppose you could say. But yeah, Bowblacks also made a video. Yo Mama YouTube channel calls Keemstar alt-right. Yes, this is real. So defending the numerous claims defending against the numerous substantiated claims that Keemstar is alt-right adjacent. So we've got this massive new community online in the form of the commentary community and the drama channel community making pretty reactionary content. Now, granted, you have your exceptions, of course, like our good boy, although he doesn't really make this kind of content anymore. I can't type, I'm sorry. We've got Pyrocynical, you know, Pyrocynical makes some pretty good content. He's sort of evolved away from the commentary community stuff, but he's still technically, tangentially still part of it. He seems to be pretty based. I know he's a Destiny fan. I know for a fact he's a Destiny fan. But there are some people there that are good boys in the commentary community, but for the most part, it seems like the mass majority of them are pretty reactionary leaning. And if you ask me, my personal opinion is that if there's another wave of reactionary if there's another wave of popularity for, like, reactionary content online, it's gonna be pushed, at least in part, by these fuckers, because they're so easy to mainstream, because their content is so digestible, even more digestible than the old anti-SJW cringe compilations of back in the day. It's so easy to rope people who know nothing about politics into it. And No Fuckers. No Fuckers is also part of the commentary community and is also pretty based. Penguin Zero. I don't think Critical's a reactionary. I think he's, like, got a cringy, like, gamer take or two. But yeah, it is possible. It is possible to get roped into it by, like, Critical's old complaining about video games being political. That's where it starts, right? You're you know, a gamer white boy. He's mad that video games are getting political. That's where it starts, of course. But with all that aside, this community is huge. And it's growing more and more, has a lot of mainstream appeal, like non-political appeal, and when it does get into politics, the politics are fairly right-leaning or reactionary. So that's what we got to look out for. If I were to give you guys advice, it would be to keep an eye on these people, on Leafy's new content, on people like Bo Blacks, on people like Optimus, on people like Birdman, on people like Keemstar, so on and so on and so on. That's where I think it's going to come from. Because right now, people like me, Vosh, Destiny, Breadtube in general, are doing a really good job of stomping the final fleeting breaths of life out of the old reactionary skeptic community back in the day. Sargon's still kind of clawing for life. There's still a few new ones like John Doyle, who we'll get to later in this stream, that are still kind of gasping for breath and getting a fair amount of brief success. But for the most part, the old guard are getting stomped out. It's the TikTok Zoomers, the right-wing TikTok Zoomers that do political content, and the commentary community online, I think, that'll bring the next wave of reactionary politics. Mark my words on this day. Mark my words. If a Gamergate 2 happens, it's not going to be Gamergate. It's going to be some like pseudo Streamergate, anti-Twitch thought, SJWs ruining Twitch thing, and then from there, the drama channels and the commentary channels will signal boost it, and it'll go on and on and on from there, and you all know what happens. That's what I think is going to happen. Mark my words. I'm laying it out now. I'm Nostradamusing that shit.